these feet, we wouldn't be a very good steward with them. Have you ever seen a duck with line on his feet or pictures of them? Yeah, but almost every newspaper's had a picture of them. Well, what we ask everybody to be is a steward. When you see fishing line on the ground, pick it up, put it in your pocket. We have fishing line bins, and Russ has one here at the park over by the boat ramp that you can put the fishing line in, and we have volunteers that come out and check it periodically, and they take the line, and we actually mail it back to Berkeley in Iowa, and they make crates out of it and give it back or sell it to fisheries for fish habitat. So it's a purpose, and so we not only collect the line so that the ducks don't get their feet in it, or whatever other birds don't get, or people don't get their feet in it, but we collect it and we put it in the bin, and then we have somebody collect that line and it gets reused. So important, if you see fishing line on the ground, pick it up. What happens if you see a pop can laying on the ground? Should we just leave it there?
No.
Well, wait. Russ and his guys will pick it up later, maybe. Why don't we just leave it there? No, because we're stewards. We want to be a steward. They shouldn't ever have to see. And one thing that I know Russ has already got a big head. Everybody that knows Russ. Is this a clean park or what?
It's a clean park.
There are two parks in our area that I'm especially proud of as a Nebraskan. Remember, they're our parks. They manage them for us. They're our parks. Gene Hunt and Russ Wilkie probably have the cleanest parks in central Nebraska. And the reason is because a lot of the people, we got a lot of stewards in these smaller towns, but also they send their crew after events, and there ain't trash. I mean, it just gets picked up. And it's
And that's because, what does that say?
stewards.
We are stewards.
Now, I'm going to ask, we'll get all the little bitty ones, I'm going to assume the answer is yes. Is that okay? Okay. You're not committed yet. If you see fishing line on the ground, will you pick it up? If you see fishing line on the ground, will you pick it up?
Yes.
If you see fishing line on the ground, will you pick it up? If you see dog poop on the ground, will you pick it up? What happens when it rains? What happens to that dog? But if it rains, what happens to it? It gets washed into the lake, right? Let me tell you a quick story. It's a news story. I'm old. Back when I was a kid, we didn't have showers. We took baths. I have an older sister, a year older. We weren't poor. It was just standard. And some of you folks will remember that. You had one bathtub filled with hot water, and you took turns taking a bath in that same bathtub. Your older sister, 1 year older. That made me second bath person. Okay, now I'm just going to ask a simple question here. If my sister had done what that dog did in the bathtub, would you want to take a bath? No. Well, by leaving that dog poop there, not picking it up, do you think that fish wants to live in that lake?
No.
Well, I suppose because they kind of poop in their own home, don't they? Uh-oh, there he's going to go. Let's see what he does. Let's see what she does. Anyway, so... All right, we need to roll because we want to go fishing. So the important thing is here, kids, that we are stewards, right? We are stewards. Very good. If you happen to see if you see a guy walking down and throwing out his, even at school or wherever you're at, you see somebody throw some trash down, go over there and pick it up. Don't say nothing to them. They might even be bigger and meaner, and obviously they're not very friendly if they just throw the trash down. Just pick it up and walk away and throw it in the trash bin. You're a steward, and they'll feel guilty later, even if you don't confront them. Don't say a word. Just pick it up and toss it in the trash. Our parks will be cleaner, our streets will be cleaner. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to make sure that our youngsters do better than what my age group did and concentrate on being good stewards. Okay? Not yet.
Another wasp.
Okay.
Another wasp.
Who all, did everybody bring a fishing pole?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you have your own fishing pole, that's great, but later, in just a few minutes, we're gonna go fishing and we're gonna have, we brought that trailer that has 50 fishing poles in it.
I've never been fishing.
You're gonna go fishing now though, aren't you? This is the kind of fishing pole that we use, and we call it the kids system. But I'm gonna tell you, these fishing poles, there are more people in the world using this style of fishing pole than any other fishing pole, including them carp fishing ferry wanderers like this guy over here, them fly rods. And the reason these are so popular and why we use them for kids is they're simple. They'll catch every size of fish there is out there. They're easy to maintain, and we're going to show you a couple of. This is called a spinning reel. You notice the line's all hid in there.
Yeah.
When you push the button and you let go, hey, it worked this time. The line goes out. Well, in order to get this to cast, you push the button, let go, and the weight on the end of the line is what actually sends it out. So you don't even have to throw hard, which means if you're a little kid, a medium kid, or an older kid like me, you can still use it because it doesn't take any effort. And I'll just show you how easy this is. Watch this. I'm going to push the button. I'm going to go back, and then when I release it, I'm going to let go of the button. Watch this. See how hard I threw that? I didn't, did I? I just flipped it. See how far it went? I didn't have to do this. Okay, so when we're fishing later, we'll help you guys out there with casting. We'll do a little casting thing before we go fishing, but I just want to show you how easy and why this is so popular is because it's so easy to cast because the bobber or weight on the other end, that's just a little casting bobber without a hook. Just push the button, go back, go back, and then let go of the button. And without even having to throw a net cool, we're going to have you doing that here in a little bit. Okay? We'll have each of the kids do some casting practice. And we'll try to catch a fish while we're doing it in the grass. We have some grass fish that we can cast. Okay? So now I'm going to show you that's how easy to cast. And I'll show you what is called the kids system. The kids system is simply one of those poles. And on the pole, we have, and moms and dads and grandpas and grown-ups, and when you ever have a question or a comment, just shout it out. This is not a controlled, in fact, it's totally out of control.
Jackson, sit down,
So-
please. Thank you.
What we have, I don't like this one best, but we'll talk about what we like. If you got poles at home, anybody notice the first thing we have on the line? What do we have? First thing on there. What's that?
Bobble.
Is it a big bobber?
No.
Is it a small bobber?
No.
Is it a medium-sized bobber?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is real important. All right, who can I pick on? I'm picking on you. I'll bet you have a ton of bobbers like this in your tackle boxes.
Not really.
You don't? You have any big bobbers? Who has big bobbers?
There you go.
Medium bobbles.
Yeah, medium bobbers. Like that size? Perfect. Real important, real important, because we grew up with them big red and white bobbers. Because you get a bag of them for 29 cents at Mall Wart or whatever. Whatever. Gibson's.
There you go.
I'm too old to remember what they call them. Allen self-service back then. We want a bobber, and somebody's going to get a prize, and I know who it is that's going to get one if she doesn't screw up. The reason we want to use this size bobber or smaller, well, let's move to the next step. What's this thing called? Anybody have an idea? It's a split shot or a split shot. And this is one thing you never want to do. Okay, you watching? I want you to see what you never ever do. Okay? Never. Now I can do it because my teeth are gone because my dad never taught me that. But they have pliers and you squeeze them with pliers. Never use your teeth on split shell or weight. Never use your teeth like this to break your line. Too late for me. I'll probably get caught doing it. always use a pair of clippers or a nippers or something to cut your line, and always use a pair of pliers to pinch on or pinch off your weights, okay? The reason we have the bobber here, and then we have a weight here, and then we have a hook here, and just because of the grown-ups that are here, I'm gonna tell you, even better is to have a jig head without feathers here, a weight on the hook. And the reason is fish will swallow these. Jig heads, they will not swallow 99% of the time. They will not swallow, even if it's sitting in there and you don't get to it in time. It'll get to their throat and they won't swallow it, and they'll get hooked in the lip or the upper mouth. So if you have a chance at home, you got a bunch of these hooks, just like the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission puts out with every rod they have in their system. Replace it with a jig head if you can. They're cheap, buy cheap. Color doesn't make any difference. You got 3 or 4 kids and you got assorted colors, great. Except you'll never have the right color for the right person, but that's something you have to deal with. It's called fishing. All right? I need this. Okay, I gotta have a girl. You tell me which girl. Right there, you got picked. We're going to explain why we have a split shot here and a hook here, okay? You're going to be a fish, all right? This is sitting on the water, little bobber, not a big giant bobber. And this is why we don't use big giant bobber. Okay, there's a bobber, and this is a weight. What the weight does is it keeps that bobber steady, right there. It actually pulls it in the water just a little bit. You don't want too big a weight where it goes underwater, but it just holds it steady. Now what do we have down below? The hook. What do we put on the hook?
A fish.
What? No, well, we have to catch one, but what do we? Mike does, but he catches 70-pound catfish. We're not going to put a fish on ours. We're going to catch a fish. So what do you do to catch a fish?
Put a worm on it.
A worm. What else can we put on it?
Minnow.
What else can we put on it? Say corn. Corn. Very good. Great answer. When we put a minnow on there, the reason that weight and this bobber are sitting here, what happens to that minnow? It wiggles. I want you to show them how a minnow wiggles on a hook below that weight, just like that. Okay, do a little dance. Do a fish
I
dance.
want a minnow.
That's right. Now, that's a worm. I want to see a minnow. Come on. Come on. Like this.
No.
All right, let's see the worm again. That's right. Okay, so we have the bobber, a small bobber. We have a split shot. We have a hook with a worm on it. And that worm is doing this. The bobber ain't doing nothing, right? So when a fish comes over and bites it, it'll pull that bobber down. Or if it bites from the bottom, that bobber might even come up. And you can see that you have a fish on it. And then what do you do? Reel it in! Fish on! Reel it in. If we have a big giant bobber on there, that minnow on the bottom there could be dancing all day, and you'll never know it because that bobber displaces so much water, it's sitting up there, it ain't wiggling at all. So we got a bobber sitting here at the water, and this thing down here, even the weight's doing all this kind of stuff. We haven't got a clue. In fact, it's even wrapping around my line. But we don't even have a clue because our bobber's too big. That's why we need to have a bobber this size so we can see it, right? But we don't need a big red and white giant bobber like Grandpa and Mom and Dad
Good
grew
stuff.
up with because they're only 26 cents for a box of 12. That's called the kids system, and you don't have to be a kid to use it. Grown-ups use it all the time as well.